Thank you, Carissa, for that testimony. And I was going to ask Tony Rakakis, the district attorney, a question along that line. Your circumstance, the fact that, as Tony shared, the average for teen underage girls now is 12 when they're bringing these cases. Under the new law, under Prop 35, I guess one of the advantages is a focus on those involved in the criminal syndicates and those participating as pimps, and more focus on those who create the demand as well. But the fact that we have that new prosecution with the result of 32 years for an individual who was involved in trying to recruit underage girls, and this particular girl was 13 that he tried to lure up to Sacramento, and he was caught doing it. Let me ask you, if I could, Mr. Rakakis, are there any common factors that increase the susceptibility, the nature of the risk for a 12-year-old, 13-year-old being vulnerable to being trafficked? If you could give us some insights on that. And what strategies have our panelists found to be most successful in addressing that particular problem?
Well, those are certainly great questions. I think that as far as the vulnerability is concerned, what seems to happen mostly is that they wind up meeting somebody, and this person appears to be somebody who looks fine and appears to be upstanding, and gets them into a car or some kind of a compromising situation, and then just takes them off. And we've seen quite a number of cases where a young girl would willingly get in a car with somebody or go off with somebody, and then of course once that person gets control, he winds up taking her quite far away. It's not usually just in the local area, but it might be to another state, and then gets control, dominates her, beats her up a few times to let her know that she can't disobey anything that he has to say, and then he starts trafficking her. So as far as what would be the common thing, I don't know if I can put my finger on it, except to say that just this being out, being on their own, being out on their own, not being supervised, and winding up being in the hands of a stranger. It's not usually a kidnapping off the street where somebody jumps out of the bushes and grabs a young girl and throws her in the car. It's usually a cooperative sort of a thing. And
Kay, let me ask you that question too, or sure, any of the other panelists.
The same question?
Yes, just the
Okay.
factors that, in your opinion, make girls at that age at risk for being recruited into or kidnapped into this type of situation.
Well, there are definitely factors, and certainly socioeconomic status is one factor. That said, we have served survivors here in LA who've had university degrees. So I think we need to look at, there's a domestic population, U.S. citizen survivors. There's also a foreign national population. And I really want to credit Carissa for saying that their similarities are more than the differences. And as a movement, we need to look at this more when we are looking at the factors of vulnerability. So what I'm saying is that the foreign labor contractor who drives into a community in a foreign country and looks looks nice, drives a nice car, says, come with me, or let me take your children, I'll give them a really great education, is not that different from the pimp who seeks out a young girl in the same fashion. So when we're talking about vulnerability factors, and I do want to say that we're really proud to be working with Representative Bass's office on the child welfare system, and we're doing some really innovative things in LA, working with the County Board of Supervisors to address the vulnerability factors, which can be everything from socioeconomic status to, to the traffickers going in and being allowed to do recruitment in the way that they're doing that. So I think there's a lot of vulnerability factors, is what I'm saying.
Thank you, Kay. I was going to ask one last question of Angela, and that is, if during the visa application process you'd been given information about anti-trafficking protections under U.S. law, or maybe the number to that anti-trafficking hotline, do you think that that would have helped you escape sooner, Angela? Angela, if you'd had access
I'm so sorry.
to the anti-trafficking hotline at the point that you had the visa application, would that have helped you if that had been given up front, or if you had been given information about anti-trafficking protections in the United States? Would that have assisted?
Yes, it would be help, and I'm just going to share this. One of the CAST Survivor Advisory Caucus that we have, a member, she worked as a nanny, and they were based on Middle East. And when they came, when she went to the immigration, somebody handed her the flaglets about the hotline, and that's how she got help. When they get to the hotel, she called the number, and that's how she got help from CAS.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go to Representative Karen Bass.
Thank you. Well, once again,